You gotta say no Diddy after that. Damn. The thumbnail is the same. I gotta change it. That thumbnail was only supposed to be for yesterday's. And today's thumbnail should have been back to normal, but I guess when I changed it, I changed. I'm gonna make a new thumbnail anyways, a less AI one. Alrighty. My chart is lagging already. Yeah, I'm lagging. Hold up. There we go. Tricky buys here with this hourly no bottom wick. We have a level here, a level here, which means we can just draw this. This range. Yeah, we'll say it's this big. Alrighty here. So we really haven't bounced. I mean, we did, we tapped it once. But I would like to see a bounce like this, right? Where price comes down, taps the level, closes back up into range, gives you some levels, closures back above, and then the continuation. That's what I wanted to form here. It looks like we formed it by one wick. We're now getting a consolidation. If we get a breakout, holy shit, there's 80 pips in this range. My dog George, Nate, Bougie, Hank. It'd be like that. I'm gonna have some caffeine overload. I took a pre-workout before going to the gym, and now I'm drinking some coffee before stream. Yo, do you guys know who Shannon Sharp is? Yes, I know that. I know who Shannon Sharp is. And what lawsuit does he have going on for what? No way. So the girl that is trying to do him for what? Whoa, look at this dump. Alright, so this hourly at this level is that hourly flip, huh? This is the bounce that VWAP gave us. Whoa, this shit says that I have one concurrent viewer. It just dropped to 1. Oh my goodness. I can't stand grape allegations. It did go down to 0 for a second. Yes, the guy who can get 100 women like you all in the same room at the same time for free if he wanted to, and he would grape you, doesn't make sense to me. Oh, but it's a dominance thing. You don't think he could have just went and had that dominance thing with 30 other women? He could have literally posted on his story, I need 20 women right now, all STD checked, to come to my hotel room with your lab tests immediately. And he will have a line of women with their lab test ready. If it's true, my brother, I hope you go to jail. If it's not true, my sister, I hope you go to jail for life. This money printer would have given 19 pips. Damn, how come I didn't get notified? You're dealing with the power company. For some reason, when one turns on, my AC power... When one turns on the AC, my power goes out. Oh, bro, your air conditioner is likely tripping a breaker. Yes, sir. Please and thank you. Whoa. To be honest, if I'm being very honest with you, that's mid for South Florida. There's women 3 times as hot as that in my gym. And it's not even a fancy gym. It's the same thing people say about Europe and European girls, that a 10 over there, that a 10 over here is like a 6 over there. That all the ones that we think are 10s here, over there are... Alright, I'm gonna have a sell stop here if this breaks this low. Oh, that was the 8 o'clock open. Buys aren't bad. We close respecting. We're back in range. Respecting support. Bouncing off the VWAP. We could fly up. Let me delete this till I come up with a better decision here. I'm gonna delete that buy stop. So the current hourly the previous hourly has no bottom wick. Current hourly is driving up with barely a bottom wick, but we already have this massive area here of volume. When we rejected off that same level in the past, we also had hourly candles with no bottom wick. What's up, Vicky? How are you? So, because this same thing happened market open, pre-market tapped here, market open, flew up. Buys are a little more interesting, but they have to be above this level here. Once we can get above that level, maybe a decent closure, we have 62 pips of range.
Rated at PCGS back in 1986, I believe. Yeah. First 400, eh? That's what they say with that.
right. So let's see what we do here. We have a 5-minute closure coming up. This 5 minute is closing here, respecting this level here. Let's see what happens. Yeah. Five-minute just closed, bullish. Damn, I don't like that. Alrighty, so it looks like we're just kind of chilling here. We're about to start closing back below these ranges here. So it looks like anytime that we're under these levels here, price is selling off. When we're above these levels here, price is buying. So we have some traffic here in the middle of the range, up or below. What are we gonna do? We just broke this high, grabbed orders, and now we're closing back in range. It would make sense to come back down, close below this VWAP, and then continue down to retest the low. Apex just sent everybody out an email, 90% off. You can use my code right there up on the screen. 90% off, so the 50K valuations are like $16. So personally, I'm doing the higher ones now, but if I were doing the 50Ks again, I would be buying them and trying to pass them in a day. Especially with the amount of volume we're getting today. If you use a one lot on the 50Ks, you need 250 pips to pass. But if you're in a trade where you're going to draw down a couple hundred pips, maybe you want to use like 6 or 7 contracts, and you can pass that in a day. You know where you're going to find a wonderful woman? Go to church, my boy. Join the men's group. Join the young adult nights. The thing is that a person in church is 100 times more likely to be a probable mate than someone outside of church. That's why you gotta join the actual groups and go to the meetings, to the people that are actually involved in the church and actually really do it. Not the people that just go every weekend. Like, bro, at my church, I see like lesbians, like, what do you call them? Like dykes. And then they're applauding for everything, and then the second they start talking about the gay stuff, yeah, studs. The second they start talking about the gay stuff, the studs just shake their head no, and then they start talking about the stuff they like, and the studs are like this. So like, yeah, you're gonna get people like that a lot. You're gonna get people that go there in skin tight suits with their nipples out. And it's church, you're not allowed to turn anybody down. But best believe all the women in the church go up to them and say, hey, that's not really appropriate for church, you know, it's not a problem. You want a jacket? You want to cover up? Yeah, church is just a place to be around other spiritual people and get that really good sense of energy. These Protestant churches don't go too deep into the faith and don't go too deep into the stuff that you really want to know and that you really should know. They're more like motivators to help you do your own research. Hey, can you explain the difference between spot gold and futures gold real quick? Same shit. Different toilet. So, in this toilet, we have this. Alright, let's show you. You have two toilets. One is poop and the other one is also poop. Price is at $3,340 and here we're at $3,348. So price here is only 80 pips higher than it is here. Candles move similar. You see we had this high here to this low here, we have 154 pips. This high here to this low here, we have 147 pips. 158 pips. Same shit. See how we broke this high, created a new high, broke this high, created a new high. The same thing is happening, just that about an 80 pip difference in price. So wait, were you trying to talk right now? So this is the major difference, right? So let's say I log out, I go into my paper trading. Oh look, my paper trading account is minus 70,000. But my board account is at $18 million. Do you guys want to see something? Have you ever seen somebody flip an account like this before? Look at the whole history. I started off with $1,000. The first trade hit for 31,000. I just took a swing trade. Look at the P&L. The balance before, after. $8 million. You're gonna tell me I can't flip $1,000 account to 18 million? But basically this is the difference, right? So I've logged out. I'm on the paper trading account. So if I take an entry here, boom, I press buy. I can't close partials here. So on Forex, if you were to take a second entry and press buy, you would now have one entry here and one entry here. And you would see 2 price points here. Whereas here, it averaged both of my positions. You see how we're in profit here? If I take another entry, buy, it brings my average up and it averages all the positions together. Well, that's not a trade I wanted to take. Well, that's a nice 13 pipper. That's the major difference in the way that it works. Otherwise, it's pretty much the same thing. Your spreads are gonna be less here. Right now, my spreads are about two pips. Whereas right now, if you're on XauUsd, you probably have 3-4 pip spreads. Ooh, that 5-no top wick. Hey, 9 people in Zoom. You guys are fucking awesome. There was a gap here we never filled. We gapped up here and never filled it. And now we're retesting the gap, retested the lows. I'm gonna have a buy stop here. Let's move it up a couple pips. Yeah, not only watching the structure, we just filled that gap, retested that 4-hour low, came back, retested it again, created a new high, came back down, respected our SMA here. The higher probability states that we're most likely going to come up to at least fill the range here. But I'm not a swing trader yet. I'm a scalper, so I'm going to scalp until this most recent level that I think is good enough. And then if we do continue above these levels, I can take continuations. It's like Wick said, right? The video that he posted today. I don't know about you guys, but I watch every video that Don and Wicks post. And he was talking about, it's not just about price, it's also about timing. And he was talking about the final 15 of the hourly, how the final, few minutes of the hourly, if you were looking for an hourly flip, it's most likely not going to do it at the very, very end of that hourly. It'll happen somewhere in the middle, the first quarter, or the second quarter of the hourly candle. You see what I'm saying? So when anticipating when I'm going to set a buy stop, I want to see price like attempt to drive, fake out, come back to a level of support, and then I'll set my buy stop, because if we bounce off that level of support and re-break that quick momentum high that we just created, there's a higher chance that you're going to get that pop that we're looking for. 500 pip Asian session, dude. And it's 8.19 in 2 hours. Price has moved 500 pips. That's incredible, man. Bro, you're gonna make those 2,600 pips back in fucking no time, bro. Just don't even think about it, dog. Like, you just made 500 the other day, you're up another 300 today, bro. And that's, look at the beauty of not going full tilt. You took a big loss, but locking in and staying strategic, you're back at almost half of what you lost. I mean, unless you lowered your lot size, but still, pip-wise, it's what's important. Pips-wise, it's what's important, because that really tells you the scalability of your strategy, right? Because yeah, I can make $1,000, but if I risked 100 lots to catch 1 pip, there's a big difference between risking 1 lot and catching 1,000 pips. You know what I mean? So you're like, holy shit, I'm catching great moves. I could risk a little bit more, make a little bit more. Oh shit, I'm not really catching the best moves. The majority of my trades, I'm closing them at like 5-10 pips, or I'm closing them break even. Maybe I should lower my risk. Oh, my win rate's increasing. I'm catching 20, 30, 40 pips per trade and my win rate's increasing. Maybe I can raise my lot size a little bit. And if I do take a big loss, I now have a big cushion. It's all proportionate. If your strategy is consistent, it doesn't matter what lot size you use, it should still result in profitability. The thing is that the higher lot size you use, the more emotions behind your trading, because you're starting to see larger numbers. So yeah, little by little, even though your strategy dictates that even if you use a 1 lot, it's the same thing as if you use a 0.1, but in your mind, that 1 lot will scare the fuck out of you. Yeah, and that's the thing. And then what? Yeah, Turpy, you're exactly right. But what I do to increase the probability of the trade playing out is I wait for the hourly closure, COMEX open, 9:30, NYC open, news, the 11 to 12 o'clock or the 12 to 1 o'clock candle where London closes. The power hour candle at 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock. If I wait for those specific times, the probability of my setup just exponentially increases. If I hunt for my setup like, I don't know, like at 8:15, it's most likely not going to play out. But if I hunt for my setup around 8:45, 9 o'clock, it most likely will play out. It's just taking the setup during the volume hour, the highest probability of volume during the hour, is how you can increase your win rate even more. I'm skeptical right now. This 5 push right before the 30-minute candle. The next 30-minute candle is gonna need a bottom wick before continuing to push up. Whippersnapper. Code Eddie fucked your account. This is about to activate me. Slipped a bit too. How much did it slip me? And that's a full closure. And that would have hit TP anyways, but I saw it 1 pip before TP and a quick little pullback, kind of like a money printer on the 1 minute. So I said, what if my TP is the world's strongest level and it rejects right before getting there? So I decided to close. I was also going to go break even right here at this level. I was eyeing the resistance right here, but it slipped me, right? It slipped me 2 pips. That 2 pip slippage on futures is extremely important when deciding to go break even or not. That trade would not have passed the 10-second rule, I'm afraid. This is what my, today is my first day trading the live account since this morning. And I'm up $450 in a day. $450 in a day. Whoever's still holding, please, 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 please drop a like. That's all that I ask. All you gotta do is just like. I want you to see how we broke this shit down. How every time the goal is to be in that volume push, which is why the buy stops are important, which is why the bottom wicks are important, which is why waiting for structure to form is important, which is why setting my buy stop a couple pips above the level that I really want is so important. Yes, the idea played out, but had I had a super tight buy stop here, I would have been wicked in this trade, and then I would have sat through 55 pips of drawdown, likely taken a pineapple, closed the trade somewhere here. That trade was almost a minute. Oh yeah, it was on the closing of this minute and opening of this one. We Gucci. Now, I want to pull back for a continuation up. If this is one of those situations where it keeps flying, I'm not interested in taking buys just yet. But let me go use the bathroom real quick. I'm gonna tell you something, gang. Sometimes it feels impossible to be doing shit like this. Sometimes it feels like imposter syndrome. What up?
What it do? What it be? How it be? How much we up today?
In a day?
For the day?
Guess.
300 pips.
If we can get a bottom wick on this entry, yeah. We need a bottom wick. We need a pullback. I need a pullback to form proper structure. We have a lot of resistance here. We got to be careful. Look how we rejected instantly this level. I want to get a closure above. I want to get structure form. I can't take a buy stop. Let me log into my Apex real quick. I guess my discount code is disabled. What the hell? Yeah. Is it? Yeah, I guess I'm gonna have to email them. I don't see my code on there.
Did you get that whole drawdown? Did you get that?
What are you talking about? No, I won this portion here. Alright, so damn, that 5 is ugly. The only thing that looks good is that 3-minute chart. So the gap here, once we retest that gap, that's sketchy. What do we have to that gap? 27 pips? Yeah, we took a trade. Damn, this stretches.
Trash. Stems all over.
I have a... What the hell did I do? Oh, wrong papers. Yeah, so we took a buy here for 15 pips. Are we looking for sells? Not yet. I would like us to retest the gap, and then I'll be looking for sells. But yeah, I will be looking for... I mean, wick entry sells might not be bad here. Is this a 4-hour level too? No, it's a 4-hour wick. This is the wick here. Boom. This is our 4-hour resistance here. Boom. Or a 1 hour. It's actually a little bit higher here on the 30-minute. So, I'm not looking for sells just yet. But you need to get like a sharp push down and more structure forming. Like, see how we have no top wick on this 5-minute, no bottom wick here. We're coming up to push. We're at the daily high level. So maybe sells aren't bad. I would just have to wait for a little bit more confirmation. But sells might not be bad.
Damn, this stuff is fucking horrible.
Bye. Daniel Holder. Elite trader. Big bags in the bag.
Oh, what the
Just get another one.
Yeah. Do you have it on?
You don't have it anymore?
Yeah, I do. But
Oh.
they're all fucking horrible.
Oh, that's good. You don't know how to rip it open. You gotta have the The skills.
Look at that.
Where did you buy this from, bro? Or did you find it in your car?
No, gas station. I'm going to my shit in my house.
Yeah, never go there again. Same shit, bro. Bless you. Alright, just do it. I'm gonna have to do surgery. There's that re-break. Could be interesting here. I don't like how it looks like on the 1 minute though. Yeah, this is ugly. We're most likely gonna see a fucking pop here. But is it gonna be to the upside or to the downside? How's the weight loss journey?
I'm at 225.
You think you can do another 20?
I'm not on. I haven't taken more than half of those pounds, so yeah. I'll probably do those 20 pounds in the next month, to be honest. Or at least 10 pounds.
Spaceman. Sam. I've had to do worse. When times are tough. It's just very sensitive.
We should wrap it up, paper.
Let me give it some stitches and paper. So that's it. Whoever's in those buys, congratulations. I couldn't take them. I didn't like the way that it trickled up there. And in and out. That's what she said. Uh-oh. No. See, Vicky, why we really have to wait for price to start forming. It's not going to reverse off of one candle. It might continue off that one candle, but it's not going to reverse off of one candle. It's going to give you some sort of sell setup on the way down, right? So we can't just anticipate we're at the daily high, we can take a sell to come down, because if that were the case, you would have done it at any of these wicks. As soon as you hit that daily high, you just take an instant sell and catch the first rejection off that high. But now that we form structure here, you can't really take it. You gotta wait for range 1, range 2. You gotta wait for these ranges to be broken or closed below in order to continue down for the day. Be careful with it. We're about to hit that wick that I have there. I want to see us break it and continue. That's the only thing in our way. There's a price gap in Forex between the closing and the opening. Maybe it will fill those. So these gaps only get filled the same day 48% of the time. So that's a statistic that you need to remember. 48% of the time do these gaps get filled the same day. So you have a 2% edge to take a sell somewhere in that opening gap. The thing is that opening gap is huge. Where is it going to reject in this opening gap? We don't know where it's going to reject in this opening gap of 192 pips. So what we know is that there is a high probability that once price retests this opening price, we're likely going to come down and get some sort of pullback. Which is the higher probability trade. Now, if you take a trade into the gap fill, look at how long this gap took to get filled. This was Thursday of last week's gap, or Sunday opening gap. It took all the way to tonight's Asian to fill that gap. We don't have to necessarily fill the gap today, but look at how this gap here, 52% chance that it wasn't gonna fill, and what happened? It didn't fill until the following session that it gapped down to fill the gap. So now that we're in the gap and we're starting to break above, taking buys into the gap is a little tough knowing that probability. So how can I take buys into the gap? I need a higher time frame closure. My dog Drizza. My dog Drizza in the house. Back from hanging out with multi-millionaires and famous people. I get to hang around famous people all the time. I get to hang around my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
Jeez.
The most famous person I know. How are you, bro? How's everything? Yeah, I'm so famous. Someone the other day came up to me and said, "Hey, you're that guy. You're that guy that cut me off, you fucking pussy." That's what they say to me. No, it wasn't me. I'm sorry. Hey, you're that guy that cut me off at the red light. Oh shit, I thought you were trying to ask for a picture, bro. Knowing gold, there's a higher probability that it'll fill a bullish gap versus a bearish gap. Bitch ass fly has been flying in my room for days and I haven't been able to catch it. You always gotta stay busy, bro. I used to think, when I told one of my boys about my schedule, and they're like, yo, that's too much. You need a work-life balance. And I'm like, you're gay. I can't talk to you no more. Work-life balance. This is my life. Wow. I can't take any trades here, but whoever's in this at break even, my boy, you're blessed for your knowledge of the entry. I also had the low here. A runner would have been nice, but you know me. Quick TP Eddie. As long as you don't carry around a tumbler. What's a tumbler?
Sorry?
A tumbler.
You want a tumbler?
What's a tumbler?
Oh, the Yetis.
Oh, like a Yeti? My cousin's one of those guys.
Yeah.
Nah, but he carries the big ass one. He's trying to lose weight. He needs to drink a gallon of water a day.
3 gallons.
3 gallons of water a day. Holy shit.
Mofo. This shit, I'm calling easy, brother. Alright. It's gonna come easy, brother.
Yeah, you gotta put your arm up, forward, and that's how it looks bigger.
Ooh, look at it.
Up, forward, and then in front of the camera. That's how.
Bro, my triceps are getting huge.
You gotta know these angles. These no top works, no bottom. Yeah, that's why I'm just letting Price drive. I'm gonna wait till the 9 o'clock closure.
Can you guys see that angle right there? Yeah, you sure can.
Gotta take off. I'm shooting a music video for Fuerza Regida tonight.
No way. For Fuerza Regida, bro. That's crazy.
You're a savage, bro.
That's savage. That's savage.
If you see one of them, you just tell them, be like, hey, have you heard of Forex? Yo. Have you heard of funded accounts?
That's crazy.
That's amazing, bro. Good luck, bro.
Option snapped.
Send the ad.
Where's the options from? Oh, that's why.
Yeah, take it easy, brother. Drive safe. After catching pips, 160 pips, I know you might get excited. You might want to go or fucking take off. That's how I feel sometimes. Like the other day when I caught 380 pips New York session, on my way home, I was swerving through the cars, listening to loud ass music.
You swerving through the car. Oh.
I was like, get out of my way. I need to go home.
Damn. They took the good ones, bro.
What?
They arrested like 20 strippers in Tampa.
If you're stripping in Tampa, that's the worst place.
What do you mean? Tampa's the pandemic of strip clubs in the whole world.
Oh,
of the country.
I thought Tampa was a shit.
No,
Was still like
Tampa
dead.
has the most amount of strip clubs. in the
Tampa
whole
is
country.
where the majority of these famous traders live now.
What city
Like TTE.
has the most?
I made a fire batch of arroz con huevo.
Do you eat boiled eggs?
Yeah.
You know you can air
Every
fry
morning
them?
I eat four eggs.
You boil them yourself?
No, I have a little boiler.
I just
I have a little boiler machine. You put 6 eggs and you put the water at the bottom and you just turn it and it spins and then it clicks after 10 minutes.
I
and
just
it boils.
throw 6 eggs in my air fryer at 250 for 12 minutes, and then while I do other shit, it cooks them perfectly, and the inside is gooey. At
No,
12,
mine is not good. I like mine solid.
I like it. I like the inside half solid, half gooey. So I timed it to 12 minutes.
Solid. Mine's solid every time.
15 minutes and it gets solid.
It does the perfect time.
So I
I don't
choose.
even know how much time.
All right, look at this opening. This beautiful
Yeah.
opening. This shit just pushed. We're about to fill this entire gap. I can't take an entry here though, man. There's really nothing that I can do here.
It is pumped from yesterday, though.
Holy shit.
I look insane. But I've been 2 weeks off.
The gym?
No.
I had a feeling this would happen. It's one of those situations where you know it's gonna happen, but you have a setup, right? And you have to wait for it. And maybe on the pullback, but it pulled back and it didn't tap really any of my levels on these pullbacks. Fuck. Yeah, I wasn't gonna be able to take that money printer. I was trying to. Shit. Hit that. Damn, I was trying to hit that money printer, man. I'm not able to take any of my entries right now. Gold is doing... I mean, I could have taken that money printer, but I didn't have my level set up. I was too busy. I don't know. Maybe not too busy. How many pips was this off by? It was off by 11 pips. Interestingly, gold came down, filled the gap on the 17th at 18. There's 2 gaps at the opening of Asian market at 6 a.m. Yeah, so this is one of those days where it actually fills the gap. But then over here on this gap, if you would have been spamming your cells to try to fill that gap that day, you would have blown your entire account. And then if you kept taking cells trying to fill that gap, you would have blown another account, and then another account, and then another account. Yeah, I'm up 450 bucks in a day, actually. Insane. Bruh, some of these money printers have been impossible to enter. They flip and drive so fast. Yeah, that's the thing, that when the money printers flip and drive so fast, I wait for a range 1, range 2 closure, and then a rebreak, and then that second push, I try to take advantage of it, because especially if you're money printing into a large range like this, you're most likely going to get that range 1, range 2 type setup. So if I can't enter the money printer, like, see how down here I couldn't enter the money printer, but here I waited for the breakout above range 1, and that's when I took the money printer. Since I failed to take the money printer here, I was waiting to see if we can close, pull back, reattempt to break, fail, and then re-break the low, and that would give me the money printer, and then basically a head and shoulders to continue down. Thank you, Terpy. I appreciate you. I usually look for multiple stuff to show up to take trades. Yeah, I'm looking for many things. Alright, so we just tapped this level. Are we going to start to come up now? That was the hourly open, right? That was the hourly open. We came back. We tapped the hourly open. Usually, when we get a retest of this, it ends up filling and coming back down. A lot of people try to take the gap fill, and today was one of those days where... What'd you do with the blunt? Today was one of those days where the gap fill just worked out. The hourly made a bottom wick. The hourly has flipped. What does this 30-minute look like? It kind of looks like a 30 money printer, but we have a decent wick on that 30. Is it really going to come all the way down? So we're below these levels here. What did this 2-minute do? Let me get some structure forms. Let me use the bathroom. Damn. Did that not? That was whack. So, this missed my TP by a hair, and then it instantly pulled back into drawdown. So, let's see what happens here. It's interesting to take a pineapple here, but if it does flip, that's going to continue down. We have another very strong level here at the daily high. That's very far away, to be honest. That's 200 pips away. So I can hold that much drawdown. I don't know about you guys. But we're just starting to cross here. We're starting to scoop. Let's see if we can get that dump down and get that full rejection after filling the gap. Yeah, no, technically I should have closed both trades. It missed TP by like a hair. It was way too quick. So my TP was right here below this level. And we missed by 6-7 pips. Alright, I'm gonna take a pineapple right here as we get this money printer set up off the high. See if we can continue down. We are at the 9 o'clock open. Let's see what we can do here. Are we gonna come up and re-break the highs?
Reggie's so funny, bro.
I don't know who that is.
The guy from Kai. The shirt. The one that did the Batman and Robin skit. He's a comedian. He's funny as that. Yeah. You wanna listen?
Oh no, I'm negative. This is where I would determine my stop loss. If we re-break the daily high, whatever high that we form, that's where I would be looking to set my stops. So we're about to have a 15-minute closure. That 15 minutes going to close bullish. All the structure is starting to turn bullish again. So the only thing that'll really cause a pullback here is because of the gap, but the way that gold is bouncing right now, it doesn't seem very probable. The probability seems very low. The good thing is that we're at the daily high. We have retested that gap. So that's what's playing in our favor. But the fact that we are extremely bullish, created a 500 pip bottom wick, we can easily come up and create a 500 pip top wick. So I'm giving myself plenty of range to be able to manage risk and take pineapples. I would say probability is like 20% to 80%. Like this is just clean to come fill the range up and to keep going. We're kind of respecting here on the 2 minute. I'll be locked in tomorrow for New York session. Nice. When you guys were on, I had no service. I was only on just before you guys, and then where I went to, I kind of really don't have good service there, so I didn't trade. And then by the time that I got back on, you guys had gotten off. I didn't see the trades that you took. Must have been good trades. Really good trades. Really? Give me a small one. This is the best Dutch out of all of them. The last one. I have one pineapple only. Have a good night, broski. Will you let us know when you close, or does it show on your chart? Yes, I will let you know when I close. I'm going to stay on the trade until I take a loss or I close. This is looking no bueno. Nice. I'm in sells, unfortunately, while everybody's in buys. I thought you weren't in the DD simulator. Sounds like the cops are calling you, bro. Oh, I didn't even see that, to be honest. I thought you said that you weren't in DD Simulator. I hope you get out in profits, my G. I think it's where I had my first pineapple. Yeah. My whole idea was, I've been testing out this gap theory for a very, very long time. Every time that we retest the gap, gold mimics the same movement down after the gap fill. So, we just had a minute closure. We have a 5-minute closure that just closed bearish. We're forming a top wick here. What does this 3-minute look like? This 3-minute looks like a money printer. So since we filled the entire gap, we're at the daily highs. We got the sell forming here. I'm taking another pineapple here. Yeah, this is just something I've been testing for a very long time. And it's one of those DD simulator situations. One minute on this 30. 30 is going to need a bottom wick before flipping bullish. What's up, brother? How are you? This could easily come all the way back up to stops, but I'm thinking that we really do get a decent dump here. Regardless of what happens, we follow our plan. Regardless of what happens, we follow our plan, and you stay strategic, no matter what. We're just gonna close full here. That pineapple was way too high, so that was what was that? That was 17 pips for 3 entries. 51 pips. It's going to continue to dump, I believe. I really do think so. But you saw my pineapple, how it was all the way up here. I wanted it to remain down here. I didn't want it all the way up there. We can take continuation sells down now if this thing flips bearish and keeps coming down, right? But I think that after that crazy DD simulator, I think I'm going to call that a session, my G. But I do believe this is going to continue coming down. Options, I fuck with you, bro. Options, I fuck with you. Heavy. I do truly believe it's going to continue down. My gap fill theory, if it continues down, will have played out beautifully. Just, we took some drawdown. Like, look at that, bro. I had 3 positions, my brother. what did I say? It's just been back tested and 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 forward tested and forward tested and tested again and again and again and again and again. And I've tested it so many times that I'm extremely confident in holding this drawdown, knowing that it's eventually going to come back down. Now, why didn't I hold it? That's my own greed and my own unwillingness to trust my plan deep down inside that caused me to close. But what you are noticing is that I'm setting TPs. I'm setting take profits. And I'm letting my trade play out longer and more than before. So what is that resulting in? That's resulting in me catching better positions and longer positions. And then eventually over time, that TP will extend and extend and extend. So I could have had maybe another 45 pips there. I caught 17. I could have had another 45. So maybe I can have a TP at 20 pips. 25 pips full closure. The pineapple was up here. Let's see if it would have taken the pineapple out. Let's see if we would have survived that pineapple. So look, pay attention to where I stack these pineapples, right? So I took a sell. Let's delete all these lines. I don't give a fuck. I took a sell at the rebreak of the low here. What happened when price pulled up? I waited for price to tap an area of resistance. Once price tapped that area of resistance, I started looking at the time frames to see what kind of setup I can get here. I saw on the 2-minute time frame we had the money printer set up. Once this candle flipped bearish, I took my second pineapple at the money printer here on the 2-minute. Now, once we had this large wick upwards to this high right here, I wanted to wait to see what did price do at this high. I couldn't just take a wick entry here. I needed to see what price was going to do at this level. Once I saw price consolidated at this level on the 1-minute time frame, we started consolidating. Once I saw that we had a nice volume push to the downside, I wanted to see if we were to close below this range and get a celery play here or a money printer type play, right? So we had both that happened right here. So I took another entry for sells here after confirmation, range 1, range 2, breaking back into range, closing, respecting resistance. After all those confirmations, only then did I take the pineapples. Only then did I take the pineapples. So taking wick entry pineapples would have been good there, but waiting for confirmation gives you the higher probability. The highest probability. Look, if you would have had a sell stop there, you would have set it a few pips below. I don't think it would have activated you. Look at that money printer off this low. Look at off our first entry, how we rejected it. We still came back and put that first entry in profit. So that adds to my stats that my first entry still resulted in profit. My first entry was actually up 15 pips. So if we scoot 15 pips back on this one, my entry was actually up 15 pips, but it missed my TP. So my first entry was still in profit. So what does this tell me? It tells me that I don't have to worry about stacking too many pineapples because eventually price is going to come back down to my original entry and I'm going to see profit again. So with the pineapples, I'm able to get out of that trade sooner, right? Even this trade hit profit. I could have held that entire thing without taking any pineapples and still came out up 15 pips on the trade. The pineapples helped me stack and get more out of the trade, knowing that my first entry that's in drawdown is most likely going to eventually come back into profit. So I can hold my pineapples for longer and catch a 60 pip position like this one or a 50 pip position, whatever it was, what was it? So that's 100 pips for tonight's session that I've caught since before stream, not including the buys that I had here, where I caught 60 pips earlier and then I made 40 pips here, or 40 pips here and 60 pips here. I think that's what I caught. After watching you for a couple months, one thing I know is your pineapple is always on point. And one thing that helped me, I appreciate that, bro, but one thing that helped me determine that was taking big losses and then going back to the chart and seeing I just over risked and I blew the account, or the loss was way too big before I was able to before it went into profit. So if I don't over risk, it's going to go into profit the majority of the time. And that's why you look at your trading journal. Look, this is why I really, really like TradeZilla, because you're able to go to each individual trade and you can look back at the charts and say, okay, my first entry here, let's say I would have had a stop loss up here, or I would have had short stops, right? Or I would have taken a loss here after the third pineapple, right? Let's say I would have taken another pineapple here and I said, all right, this is going to be my new stop loss, this high, this wicked me out, closed me. And then I look back in the past and I'm like, wow, my first entry went into profit. What does that tell me? I could have just held that entire thing without any pineapples and I would have been in profit. So how can I get more out of that trade knowing that I'm still going to end up coming back to my entry? And that's where the pineapples come in. And that's where you wait for the setups. But if you're the type of trader that price never comes back to your entry, ever, you have to manage way differently. You have to manage more aggressively. But how are you going to know that if you don't look back at your data? So full transparency, I'm up $577 in a day. And that's my last trade for the day, for the session. $577 today. What a closure, am I right? 15 more minutes and we outie. Yo, if you guys like gym shirts and you guys like pump covers, but you still like to look secretly kind of swole, I went to Hot Topic and I tried on a couple shirts, and the extra large shirts are tight around my arms right here, but loose everywhere else. So when I have a pump, I look pretty big. And the shirt was like $25, but then they gave you 30% off, and then if you signed up for the first time, they gave you another 10% off. So the shirt cost me like $11, and it's such good material. Yeah, and if you guys have any questions, feel free to DM me and ask me whatever you want. Whatever you want, and I'll answer your question to the best of my ability. I have no problem answering questions. I try to be as transparent as possible. I tell you all my resources, everywhere that I learn from. If you guys have, or on Discord or on my Instagram or whatever. Oh, so that's 2 more wins that I have to add to my OBS. You know what? I'm going to add that right now. So I got to add 2 more wins on stream. So this trade, I don't know if it went into profit. I closed it at 17 pips and then it pulled back to break even, and then I took another rebreak of the low. So I don't know. I want to show you how you make the holes in the donuts. Listen, if you want to make holes in donuts, you got to take me out to dinner first. So that's 11 more wins. So that is 69 wins on stream. Oh no. I have to add 3 more wins. So that's 72. Ah, we're fucking lucky. We are lucky. Lucky that it wasn't 69. Lucky it wasn't 69. I had to add 2 more. I had my note here that says 9 wins, 1 loss, but then underneath it I had to add 3 more wins. So I miscalculated. I'm not in the signals chat. It ended today. Are you streaming tomorrow, Eddie? Yes. No, I am not paying for the signal section. I'm not in it. What was your question? Hey, yo, what's good, Brody? Oh. All I read was your donut question, bro. But... look at that beauty. I gotta add my PA to this. So all that's gonna stay. So I have to manage accounts. I don't want these. Nope. That account is deleted. I need to add I am sure archive account, not delete. Why you gotta do me like that? I want... no. I haven't paid for the other Apex. Oh, it hasn't started. Alright, everyone just came to troll Eddie for a minute. Thanks, Trouble. Like, hey, bro, I appreciate you, brother. I hope that you're doing good. I hope the family is doing well. I know that you're catching banger trades and that you're continuing to progress. This alone time is changing you and making you into a much, much better trader, and everybody needs that alone time. I want to make a trip up to Orlando, so I will be hitting you up so we can hang out again. And we can compare notes once again, my brother. Take it easy, bro. Why are you not refreshing? That'll probably take like... well, that re-break would have put you in drawdown. Alright, you're gonna be suspect. I'll let you be suspect. Everyone should detach for a while and trade alone. I highly recommend it. Factual denominator. There we go. I mean, today was the first day of the PA, and 738 ticks in 12 trades. I paid $32 in commission, you fucking bitch. 91% win rate today. I had one loser at $22, which was my pineapple. But see, this pineapple closed at $97. This pineapple closed at $97 minus 22. So these two pineapples made up for, or these three pineapples. This was a banger trade. It was these three right here. So it's $200 win minus 22. If I would have held a little bit longer, 10 more pips, it would have been in profit. So this was a banger dub, bro. Look at that. That's beautiful. Holy, what a day. So this is calculating my P&L throughout the entire year after blowing all of my funded accounts and everything in ticks. So it goes back to a couple months on there. But then you go to points, and in points, it's up because those big losses, like these, were like 5 lots, way over risked. Way over risked. So pips wise, it was a small loss, but it was an over risked loss, so that's why dollars wise, it's lower. So on average, my win rate is this, profit factor. So this is a more realistic view. $27 winning days, 12 losing days. But see, look, this was my biggest losing day that blew an account, and this is my biggest winning day that didn't pass anything because it wasn't the same lot size as this. This data here, for example, the day that I caught, let's go back to a loss. So this is how I determine what happened, right? So I took a sell. No. Well, what happened here? This was... What the hell? Look at this. I took a sell here at the bottom of this candle right here as we broke the low. As we pulled back and then rebroke the low, I took a second entry. As we pulled back, rebroke the low again, I took a third entry. Pulled back all the way up here, I had to close. The account size was 2,500 and I lost 1954. What kind of dumb shit was this? If I was in a sell here and price pulled back and rebroke the low, that's break even, close in profit. If I would have taken a second entry and we rebroke the low again, I was thinking we were going to continue down. Look at how we closed below this level. We closed below once again over here. This candle was bearish. I was like, cool, the rebreak of the low, beautiful. But what happened, and what did price eventually do? Eventually it came back down here. So if I would have said, okay, cool, I took 2 entries here, $2,000 loss was here. So if I would have not taken this entry, take a third of that loss out, so that would have been $600. So I would have been down 1,300 right here. I could have taken a pineapple here. My average is here to here. It would have probably brought me down somewhere here, or somewhere here, and this wick would have got me out break even. And even if I held eventually with one entry, I could have held drawdown all the way through. Let's look at the other loss. So this is how you can blow an account or this is where you taking a short entry and not pineappling properly destroys the account. I took an entry here, shorted the low. I took another entry here for no reason. I took another entry here, and then it brought my average down to like here, and this was in profit. I failed to close the trade in profit or go break even. I was like, oh no, the majority of the time my first entry goes into profit. But when you're in profit 10, 15 pips across 3 entries, you close the majority and go break even. And then what happened? I took another sell here, and I ended up having to close all the way up here. But if I would have pineappled properly, if I would have pineappled here, there's no more pineapple entries until we get here. My average across the 3 trades would have been brought up a lot steeper, and I could have got out break even here. But who knows? I could have possibly held this entire push up and not blown the account. That was 200 pips. I could have easily, like that was the range that I held today. That was 200 pips. So I could have easily had a pineapple here, had another pineapple here, last pineapple here, got out in profit here. I would have easily been out in profit here. So what did I see, right? Eventually, price came back down to my first entry. Well, at least close to it. So what does that tell me? That I just have to spread my pineapples more. So after taking those big losses, that's where I really started tracking my pineapples. You see my pineapples here are fucking trash. These pineapples are just trash. But then when you look at the pineapples for today, these pineapples were way more strategic and gave us a way better average and an area to get out profitably. Now you've officially filled the gap. You're at another strong level of resistance. Price could easily plummet down here and continue down. Two minutes for this hourly closure. I yapped for the last 15 minutes, but I really hope that you can see how important it is to have your data and to look back to see, I took this loss, why? Because I panic pineappled, and I took these pineapples way too, bad. So, next time this happens, I have to wait for price to show me that it's coming back in my direction before I can take a pineapple. I can't just take wick entry pineapples. Nadim, I appreciate you for showing up. You're a savage. You guys are all awesome. Thank you all for showing up. I can't say my mind is actually pretty sharp tonight, and I think it's because of all the caffeine that I've taken. How important are the wicks? The wicks are extremely important. The wicks indicate range, and we want ranges because ranges get filled. So a wick on a smaller time frame like a wick like on a higher time frame is a clean range that can be filled. So that's where you want to be. You want to be filling ranges. You want to be taking a trade from range 1 to range 2, and then you want that range 1 to range 2 distance to be a wick. So let's talk about this sell here. When this 15 flipped bearish, what happened here? What is this right here? This is a wick fill. We have a wick. This candle came up, created a resistance. Our next candle came down, filled the wick, and then flipped bullish. This is a wick fill. We know this 15-minute came down with no top wick. We know that 15 minutes eventually, well, let me go back. This is how important wicks are. What do you see? 99% of candles have a top and a bottom wick. 99% of candles have a top and a bottom wick. Very few don't have it. The majority of candles have a top and a bottom wick. Like 96%. One of the guys in the chat, Tom, can it possibly be? Maybe I think it is Tom. He's got an indicator that tells you the probability of a candle closing without a top or bottom wick. So basically it's 90% of the time a candle will close with a top or a bottom wick. So you use that to your advantage. What happens when you're, for example, when an hourly doesn't have a top wick? Like an hourly doesn't have a top wick. This is a really good example. See how both of these candles don't have a top wick? This little tiny candle doesn't count. This next candle came up, attempted to grab orders at that top wick area, and then flipped bearish. You can use that to your advantage. You know that eventually price is going to come back to this zone to grab orders because of the 90% probability of price creating a top wick for the candle. So you use that probability to your advantage. You know there's a 90% probability. So you see how we don't have a top wick here? There's a 99% probability that price is going to eventually come back up and grab orders here for this top wick. Especially if you're doing the higher time frame. You know how the daily didn't have a top wick? There is a 99% chance that the daily is going to come up to grab a top wick. That's just how price moves. So because of the 99% chance that the daily is going to come up to create a top wick, you could have taken buys all the way up knowing that there's a high probability that price is going to come up to create a top wick. The only thing that stopped me from taking buys was this gap. Because price gapped down, there's a lot of sell orders here, so price really struggled here before coming up. But where do you confirm this? Which time frame? So what do you mean, like, where do you confirm it? So it depends what you're looking for. So like, for example, you use it to play into your idea. You use it to play into your pattern, right? So right now we don't have top wicks on this higher time frame hourly candle. See how we barely have a top wick? There's a high probability that price is going to come up to create a top wick for this hourly. When is it going to come up to create a top wick for the hourly? Maybe it'll create it. Maybe this consolidation would be considered the top wick and then a flip bearish. I use every time frame's wick for confluence, right? You see how we're flipping bullish here? You could be using this hourly time frame for a wick fill. You see how we're respecting this support here? If you're just looking at the hourly, we closed above. We're starting to flip bullish on the hourly after bouncing off of this support. If this hourly flips bullish, you know the hourly needs a top wick because there's a high probability of the hourly needing a top wick. So you have a wick here. You can fill this wick knowing there's a high probability it's going to come up to fill the wick. You have some sort of money printer set up here. So you start looking for your small little candle patterns to tell you that price could possibly be coming back up now. We had a nice little fake out below here. If price starts flipping bullish here, we're likely going to come up and fill this range. When we come up and fill this range, what does it look like on the higher time frame? It just looks like a wick fill. On the smaller time frame, you're bullish, right? You have a new range right here. So this is, consider it range 1. You broke out into a new range, creating range 1 bearish, but you failed to break out of the bearish range 1 and you broke back into the new bullish range, right? So if price is breaking back into this range, you have a high probability of it coming back to fill the range, especially on a bullish day. And then if you start going up higher on the time frames, you start to see that you're starting to get some structured setups here bouncing off of these levels of support. You start to see on the higher time frame, the hourly, the 30 flipping bullish, your 4 hour also flipping bullish. You know, the 4 hour is a higher time frame. The probability of the 4 hour creating a top wick is very, very, very high. So with all those probabilities in mind, knowing that you're probably going to get a top wick in this area somewhere, you can take buys knowing that you're probably going to get a top wick somewhere in this area. But when is it going to give you that top wick? That's when you start looking into your candle patterns and whatever kind of structured entries you take, your trend line breaks, your range 1s, range 2s, all that kind of shit. That's when you start looking for those kind of entries to confirm that price is going to come to create that top wick. How long did it take me to understand this fully? I would say after... Alright, so my journey started in 2020 and it's 2025. And it took me 5 years. But in the beginning, I was bouncing around a lot. And I wasn't really dedicated to one strategy. I wasn't dedicated to journaling. I wasn't dedicated to looking back at my entries and my exits to determining what was going on, what my entries were good or bad. So I've only been doing that well enough for about like a year now. Right? So in the last year, my understanding has literally multiplied by 100. But I'm pretty sure if I would have put this same level of effort in the beginning, I would have been way past where I'm at now. So I would say if you're brand new, 0000 everything, you need to go to babypips.com. So it's not really like a strategy, it's just price action. Because like for example, let's say you're a trendline trader, right? The trendline strategy, what did we get here on the trendline strategy? We got a break, 1 touch point, 2 touch points, 3 touch points, price closed below the trend line, that, and then a volume push to the downside. That's your entry on the trend line. But I don't trade trend lines, I trade DVS, candle structure, whatever. So what do you see on our third entry as well? Another trend line break, 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch, maybe 4 touch, considering that the trend line breaks under, closure below, you took a trend line trade. Ignore that. So if you're a trend line trader, the entries worked at this level. Here's why the strategy doesn't matter. It matters the levels, right? If you're a person that trades order blocks, you have a bearish or FVGs, you have an FVG here, right? You see price rejected a high here, it's coming back down. You want price to come back, tap this FVG so that you can take a sell. And most ICT traders would have taken a sell as soon as they got a bearish confirmation here on this order block if you're an ICT trader. and this is what the ICT trader would have had. But I don't trade ICT, and I still have the same entry. So all of this is to show you that it doesn't matter what strategy you trade. It matters your idea, market structure, and how the market is moving, top wicks, probabilities, all of that. So if you can really focus on probabilities, you can pretty much use any strategy you want. How is that not an FVG? Isn't it the wick here? Or maybe this one and this one? Mark it for me. There probably is one on the 30-second. I don't have the 30-second chart, but I bet you $100 there's one there on the 30-second. So instead of doing YouTube videos, well, you can. Look, this is where I learned. You go to youtube.com. Or, what am I doing? Go to controllerfx.com. Make an account. And then you click right here where it says course. I believe this is where it's at. Oh no, that's the one where you gotta pay. Oh, it's right here where it says freebies. Wait, where is it at? There's a place where you press start. Where is... Oh, right here. So, this is where I learned everything. This is where I learned my strategy, where I learned everything, and then how I put it into play is the live streams. So, you go to controllerfx.com. This is Don Vo's. This is the guy who taught me. And you go to here where it says learn for free. And it's literally easy. It's like a video game here for you. So you're going to go down and it's going to teach you the fundamentals, your introduction to candles. It's going to teach you the importance of wicks. How candles are measured, top-down analysis, market structure, ranges, and trends. So this will literally teach you everything you need to know. And then developing your analysis skills, how to analyze market structure, how to identify a breakout, fake outs, and retest, reading candles backwards and wick fills, price action and wiggles. See, everything that I'm talking about is literally right here. Trends, executing trade setups, everything that I'm talking about is literally here from the top down. Choosing the right broker, setting up your Meta 5, your trading plan, your trade expectations, why traders lose money, good profits versus bad profits. So if you just literally go here, I promise you everything that I know is here, and then come into the lives and you'll get much better, and you'll see how we put all of this into play. You go to controllerfx.com, you scroll down to where it says freebies and where it says to learn for free. You just hit the you just go to controllerfx, scroll down to where it says noob to expert guide, learn for free, and you start the course. Literally, look, let's go to Wix. It tells you the guide and everything. Where it's literally super simple. It tells you everything, and it's got a YouTube video linked to the 1 minute time frame and how you can take those wicks into advantage. Bro, Don did the most with this, so if you guys are interested, check that shit out. I promise you, this will change your game. All right, gang. That's it for me. I'm calling it a night. I'm gonna go to bed. Beautiful day. Take it easy, everybody. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for watching me sit through drawdown. Thank you for not talking shit. Because some people would have been talking crazy shit, saying, "You're gonna hold that much drawdown? What are you doing? What are you doing?" Well, 176 pips of drawdown. But today I'm up 192 pips. So why would I give a shit if I'm in drawdown 170 pips when on the day I'm up 190 pips? You see what I'm saying? All I'm saying is follow the plan. That's my dog crying. Bang. Super. Say hi to Milo. He's been crying and annoying me. Can you let me know when you close? Do I buy? Do I sell? So at this very point, we close back into this range, bro. The sell would have been the break of this low. So my sells would have been running break even right now, 40 pips in profit, my G. So I don't know about selling anymore. Oh, I see what you're doing. I'm about to ban you, bro. Ah, I see. I'm just un poquitico anormal. What's up, buddy? Do you need to go outside? You need to go outside? Speak. 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 Are you gonna make me look stupid on stream? Speak. 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 Hey. Speak twice. Hey. Alright, gang. That's it. No more talking shit. That's an extra 15 minutes of me doing stupid shit. Have a wonderful night, everybody.